Hello and welcome to this very special presentation of Capcom Next! I'm very surprised that I'm able to watch this because I thought for a moment that I wasn't going to be able to. Seeing, of course, the presentation was going to probably be at a different time, but thankfully I'm on time. And I want to make this very clear before I continue. I'm very excited for the announcements that are coming in today, mostly with Dead Rising because there is a remake that's happening. And unfortunately, I haven't done an entire stream of me playing the Dead Rising games, and there's actually other Dead Rising games that I haven't yet gotten into, even though I have them in my library. But I'll save that for a future marathon. That being said, I have enjoyed the first Dead Rising game to the fullest. I played it initially on the original Xbox 360 console, and then years later I got it again on PC, and it was one hell of a game. But I'm very curious on how they're going to be remaking this one for modern audiences, because so many people have been curious on whether or not Dead Rising will ever get a remake. You know, I never thought for a long time that it would ever get remade, especially in the new engine that Capcom has. And also, I wasn't expecting it to happen so suddenly, because only recently, like, you know, several years ago, there was a remastered port of the first game available for modern platforms and PC. I'm excited to know more about that. I am aware that there's going to be a mobile port of Resident Evil 7. I don't need the mobile port of Resident Evil 7, but I'm not entirely opposed to it. I just feel like Resident Evil 7 being released so many times is getting to that point where it's like Skyrim. And then, of course, is what they're going to be doing with their newest game that seems to be very turn-based. I'm not that excited about it, but we'll see where that goes. They've been doing a lot of advertisements for some games that I still don't have. I don't have the Ace Attorney stuff in my library. I don't have the Monster Hunter games in my library either, but we'll see about that. All right, 1 minute left. Ooh, 2-hour free trial of Dragon Dogma 2. Is it on PC and console?
Save data from the trial can be transferred.
That's wonderful! But I wonder if it's going to be exclusive to one platform or going to be across the board. Damn, you didn't even fucking tell me. I did not pay for either of these during the summer sale on Steam. I bought some other stuff that I will be talking about and sharing in the future. None of the games that are listed here, with the exception of Street Fighter 6, because that's been in my library for months. Those games are not in my library. I do hope eventually to get the remake of Resident Evil 4 in my library, but only when it drops down to $20 for the gold edition, just like Resident Evil Village. Now, this first game right here, I am interested to know a little more about it, just in case it does turn out to be more interesting. But Ace Attorney, that's gonna wait a while. I've already got that on my wish list, but the video game is gonna have to take a while. All right, here we go. Let's see what you got for us, Capcom. All right, good to know that it's all M-rated. All right, there it is. Frank Castle. I'm kidding. Frank West. Only 3 games. Let's see how long they take it within 25 minutes.
Welcome to Capcom Next, Summer 2024. Today we'll be giving updates on 3 titles.
Bold choice.
Back from the dead with a deluxe remaster. Check out this and other games from Capcom this summer.
Okay.
But first, we'd like to tell you about this title.
Capcom seems very confident about this game, but I feel like what they're doing with this, I feel like it's gonna boggle it down a little for some people, but we'll see.
Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, will launch on July 19th.
Really? Damn, that's not too far away.
Excited for you to immerse yourself in the unique Japanese-inspired setting. The innovative gameplay combines elements of both action and strategy games.
Interesting, but is it gonna be like Onimusha?
Path of the Goddess is set on Mount Kafuku, which has been covered by defilement. When the sun sets, the sinister seethe emerge to attack the mountain.
Okay.
During the day, you'll explore the villages, help fix the broken contraptions, and purify the villagers. Then you'll be able to give the villagers roles and choose where to place them.
Ah, I see.
Use your daylight time wisely.
Oh, I see, because there's gonna be enemies coming out at night and stronger.
During the night phase, the seethe attack the villages.
Of course.
Issue commands to the villagers, helping you to protect the maiden Yoshiro.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is gonna be a little interesting and challenging for some people.
Purifies villages with Yoshiro to bring peace back to the mountain.
Yes, defeat the evil.
Getting help from the villagers is essential to make it through the wide array of challenges presented.
I wonder if it's gonna be like Souls. Like, you know, Souls-like. That'd be stupid, though.
You can freely reset upgrades and redistribute them to other roles. Customize the roles however you want. You'll also be able to upgrade So as you play through the game. Upgrade attacks, unlock archery, and use skills to summon the villagers. There are a variety of elements that can be upgraded.
Is that so?
Combine So's upgrades with abilities from Tsuba Guards and Mazo Talismans. Expand the strategies and actions the player can take. Work effectively with the villagers and guide Yoshiro as you purify the villages.
I hope it's all balanced.
Next, Take a look at this.
The demo? Good. I'll definitely play that. Ah, it's available today. Maybe I'll do a let's play of it and then upload how I feel about it. I mean, that's a good way to start, but I don't know how long it's going to be. Hopefully it's very lengthy. At least that'll give me enough time to adjust to the format instead of it being too short. But then again, Resident Evil 4's demo was very short. Great to know. I wonder if it's going to come with de novo or something.
The demo version will be available from today.
Good.
You can play part of the main story in a demo version.
Really?
And limit on playtime or the number of times you can play.
Good! I'm glad that there's no limitations. They should stop that.
This unique combination of action and strategy. New announcement.
Really? What's the new announcement? Is this a new trailer or is this pre-order stuff? Ah, a crossover. Capcom's doing a lot of those. Okay.
To celebrate the demo version, Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess will have a collaboration with the 2006 action-adventure hit Okami.
It only makes sense.
Collaboration costumes for the main character, So, and the maiden Yoshiro. There will be collaboration weapons, and we have collaboration music in the game as well. In order to celebrate the Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess demo, we're having a special festival.
So it's available at the start of the demo?
Themes of Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess is working with others to achieve a goal. If enough players work together and try the demo version, we will include the Okami collaboration items as a free title update on release day for everyone who purchases a copy of the game.
Well then, looks like I'm gonna have to play the demo.
Please see our website and social media accounts.
Okay, looks like I'm playing the demo for that.
Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess is available for pre-order.
Nope, not pre-ordering it. I want to test it first, and even if I did test it first and liked it, I'm not gonna pre-order.
Are included as pre-order bonuses.
Yeah.
Check out the demo version, available today.
Good. Hope it stays up. Don't take it down. Demos need to stay up. All right, well, that concludes how I feel. I'm definitely gonna get into that. Now, let's see what's next.
Next up, a new look for some fan favorites.
Good.
Want the inside scoop on the recently revealed Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster?
Sure.
Together, an exclusive, top-secret program full of undead mayhem.
Really?
Join us as we sit down with key development team members from each title to unearth the secrets of Dead Rising and the new look for Resident Evil 7.
What new look?
Take a look at the trailer.
Yeah, let's see the new trailer for the Dead Rising remaster, although it is a remake. Okay, this is the same one that I've seen already. Like I've mentioned, I enjoyed the first Dead Rising game for many reasons. It stood out. It was completely different than what I was expecting from Capcom. The first time that I saw this game, I was watching somebody else play it, and then eventually I'm like, I need to have it. I have to play this game. Now, the one thing I do want to say is I'm not that impressed by Frank's new voice. I feel like the original actor, TJ, I feel like he was perfect, and it sucks that he's not here. I really hope that they kept the personality of the original game. I mean, it already feels like the original game, but I hope they fully utilize the architecture of the game engine. I hope it's not just making the characters look pretty and stuff. There's a lot that they could be doing with the violence and stuff too. Like, we should start seeing more limbs coming off and new content, you know? Dead Rising has so much potential with the remake. You know, they also could have reused the original lines, but I don't know if they're gonna do all that. I don't even know if they did. Pre-order now. Digital version, September 19th. Well, I'd rather play a demo of it first.
Trailer for Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. You may be thinking, that looks like a full-on remake.
It is a full-on remake.
So we spoke with three...
Come on, you don't have to call it Deluxe Remaster, just call it a remake.
Ryosuke Murai. Well, actually, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this game a remake.
Because it is a remake. It is a remake.
Murai was giving us the inside scoop about the game. The first thing you'll notice is the improved graphics.
Of course, it's visually stunning in the new engine.
The game to run at 4K 60 FPS.
Yeah, the original game ran when it was remastered in 4K 60 frames.
Quality of life improvements, like the ability to move while aiming.
That's wonderful.
Other adjustments to make controlling Frank more intuitive.
That's great.
Thanks to popular demand, we've added an autosave feature.
Of course, an autosave feature. Why not? It should have been in there the first time.
The game will be fully voiced in 9 languages, with text in 14,
That's wonderful.
giving more players around the world a chance to enjoy characters' dialogue. We've also made some improvements to NPC behavior.
Really? So you made them actually defend themselves and not act like a bunch of morons, and also making it easier to actually get them to safety? I hope so.
It makes me wonder if the game's main concept is still intact.
Oh, that's not all. There's other things I'm concerned about.
Rest assured that its core remains unchanged in this deluxe remaster.
Really? Do we still see cleavage? Because I specifically remember that other female character with the blonde hair showing her goddamn cleavage. There was a fucking close-up of it. Wait a minute. Wait a minute! They downgraded her boobs. I don't give a shit if it doesn't sound like a pressing issue. Her boobs were a little bigger than that and we could see more of it. Those are one out of the many things that I'm concerned about, especially with that female police. Well, she's a mall cop, but her personality is crazy.
Because the original came out 18 years ago, there were many limitations.
Limitations? You guys had it exclusive to the Xbox 360. If you had the game on PC, you wouldn't have to worry about limitations.
A lot that couldn't be done back then.
Really? A PC port would have fixed all that.
For example, Resident Evil, Capcom's other zombie franchise, focused on quality over quantity.
Are you kidding me? Some of the people didn't care about the visuals at the time. The first Resident Evil game had a different experience compared to what it's like now.
Zombies as possible into that huge shopping mall.
Yeah, but you know, more zombies doesn't exactly mean better performance.
However, this time around, we were able to focus on quality as well.
What kind of quality?
I couldn't be more pleased that we were able to apply high-end modeling and production to both the main character Frank and all of the NPCs.
I mean, it's easily noticeable what's changed, but...
Critical aspect that we have to address is the shopping mall setting.
Yes, please go ahead, explain what happened to the whole mall.
The Willamette Parkview Mall is made up of several areas, like Entrance Plaza and Paradise Plaza, each with its own unique characteristics. We've taken these designs and evolved them even further.
As in expanding it?
Time lighting and shadow effects, so that each location takes on a different appearance, depending on the time of day.
I mean, didn't it do that in the original game, where the locations changed depending on the time setting? It's nice that you got more visuals going on here, but the first game did it first.
For character animations, we tried to limit unnecessary changes.
Yeah, that's a very important set of keywords. Limit unnecessary changes.
We could have made them more realistic with today's tools.
What do you mean?
We wanted to preserve the unique and comical movements that made the original Dead Rising so special.
Yeah, that's what made it stand out, but, you know, it wasn't just about that. There's a lot more to it than that.
Takamatsu was finally giving us the info we were looking for. However, we couldn't stop there.
Really? What else?
Why this is called a deluxe remaster.
It's called a deluxe remaster because they decided to make it very expensive.
I think Dead Rising is a unique game with extremely tight game design.
A very specific, tight game design.
However, we also knew the original game was released 18 years ago, and that improvements were needed to reach a modern audience.
I mean, if you're going to be releasing it a certain way with the new engine, yeah, definitely have a lot of overhauling.
This game truly deserves the title of Deluxe Remaster.
No, it doesn't. You could have just called it Dead Rising, and it could have been the 2024 version or 2025 version. You don't have to call it anything else. It's a remake of the original game that came out exclusively for the Xbox 360.
We're no strangers to zombies, but this game takes it to another level.
Yes, this is having fun with the concept of having a zombie outbreak. It's not necessarily just being serious.
And there it was, Resident Evil 7, in a form we never imagined.
What?
Capcom is thrilled to bring its third Resident Evil title to the iPhone 15 Pro and other Apple devices.
How is this any different?
Been optimized greater than ever before to ensure the best possible RE experience.
Okay, so you have a mobile port of a game that works smooth. Okay.
The DualSense, or a mobile controller that attaches directly to the phone, allows for a surprisingly comfortable gameplay experience.
Yeah, I could do the same thing on PC.
When playing on a mobile device without a controller, we felt the standard virtual controller just didn't cut it.
Of course it did.
One of the biggest challenges we faced was implementing the auto fire feature.
Auto fire?
So that your weapon fires automatically when aiming at an enemy.
Does it actually hit them at weak points or just anywhere it goes?
The early Resident Evil games also had auto aiming.
Yeah, of course.
Morimoto wasn't willing to compromise on usability. With Apple's help, he was able to take on new challenges that prioritized the immersive experience. The menu, options, and inventory are now all touchscreen compatible.
Of course, it's a goddamn touchscreen phone. What do you think? Of course it has to be used like that.
Resident Evil 7 is guaranteed to be frightful fun. If you have a compatible device, we highly recommend checking it out to see what you think.
All this is just a fucking mobile port of the same video game that's released elsewhere, and you just managed to optimize it for a platform that you probably weren't expecting to do it on. I'm surprised you guys couldn't fucking do that for Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch has only the cloud ports. You have to stream it to play it, and even then it sucks there.
Yoshinori Kawano discloses the secret origin of Dead Rising.
Oh, please tell us.
Is the classic zombie game.
One of the classic zombie games.
Previously untold stories about how the games were developed.
Yes, please tell us, and I wonder if he's gonna mention George Romero. Because they had George Romero as one of the reasons that the first Resident Evil game was even made.
Rising Deluxe Remaster will have an emergency digital launch for PlayStation 5.
Why call it an emergency digital launch?
The Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster
Oh my god.
will include additional costumes and mall backgrounds.
Fuck you. I want to have everything all in one game. No, I'm not pre-ordering for this. Why is Chuck there? Wow. And they got the original Frank West. Shit, you know so many people are going to be using that one. So what does it mean? Chuck is going to be in the game? What's this? Oh, right. Resident Evil 7. Like, again, I don't have a problem with Resident Evil 7 being available elsewhere. I just think it's really strange that Resident Evil 7 is somehow being fully optimized for a mobile port, but they couldn't do the same thing for the Nintendo Switch. If you have a Nintendo Switch, the only thing that you could do is play it on the cloud. And even then, its streaming service is terrible. It runs terribly. It looks terribly. I mean, really, you really expect people to buy that version of the game and be fine with it? No. No. If I had a Nintendo Switch, I would never do that. I never will. I would never ever do that. I don't want to have to buy a cloud version or rent a cloud version to play it.
Dead Rising and Resident Evil 7 come to be made in the first place.
Possibly Evil Dead and other ideas.
To learn more about the games, first we have Koshi Nakanishi, the distinguished director of Resident Evil 7. Follow along as he shares previously undisclosed information about the game's origin.
Oh, please tell us.
Started development, Resident Evil was, well, if I'm being honest, as a brand, we were off track.
You guys were always off track with Resident Evil because it wasn't planned ahead. And I'm like the only person on Earth, or probably the only fan that figured everything out and could fix it. That's why they probably need to hire me to fix all this, because I can do a lot with the story.
So we took another look at it, and the general consensus from fans of the series was that a Resident Evil game is one that should scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, a Resident Evil game doesn't just have to scare you, it also needs to be very innovative and engaging, you know, instead of just being the same thing again and again and again. You know, it's fine to take new directions, but if it's not actually engaging and doesn't pay off, especially with its storytelling, then you failed.
Had a major impact upon its release.
Yeah, it was very unexpected. It was very surprising success at the time in the 90s.
In order to make a fear-focused Resident Evil, many elements of the game had to be re-evaluated from scratch.
Yeah, because after the second trilogy, especially with what happened in Resident Evil 6, a lot of people felt like, you know, it needed to take another new direction, so they decided to go back to basics of what they tried to do before with the first-person mode, and actually improved it, because they failed with Resident Evil Survivor, which I also believe is one of the biggest pieces of shit ever.
Up to that point, RE had been third-person perspective with the character on the screen.
Yeah, you guys also tried that with Resident Evil Outbreak and it failed.
Behind a character, it's not as immersive and frightening.
No. Third-person mode also works, as well as first-person mode and the fixed camera angles. All three of them can work in their own way if they're done properly. You know, as long as it's not like Resident Evil Survivor or Outbreak or, you know, whatever else tried and failed. See, the people that were complaining about these formats don't actually understand how and why they could work. They just only want it in one way. You know, the ones that call themselves purists. But they're not purists, they're just a bunch of idiots.
Directing Mega Man Legends and Breath of Fire, and he was confident in this new genre. We wanted to put the main character somewhere that was overrun with zombies.
Yeah, definitely works. Capcom did it properly. You know, the thing is that Dead Rising was a concept that was very, very different in terms of what they're used to. You're not playing as somebody merely trying to escape the zombie outbreak, he's investigating it. The photography feature was fine. I wonder how they evolved it.
Him being trapped in a place full of zombies, trying to escape.
Well, he's not just escaping, he's also taking photography so he can make evidence to prove that there was a zombie outbreak, because otherwise it's meaningless. They couldn't do that in Resident Evil.
Challenges during development. It's clear, though, that he still has the same passion for the game. In terms of the narrative, there's a zombie outbreak. We wanted the player to encounter people trying to escape and others who have become a bit unhinged.
Most of those people that become unhinged in the zombie outbreak were only trying to take over the mall. They weren't necessarily utilizing teamwork to get out, even though they had the resources to do so. And some of them weren't really good people to begin with.
It was okay to make a game that was so violent.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it. It's an M-rated game. What are you gonna do, make a teen-rated zombie game where the zombies fucking evaporate into black mist or something? Are you kidding?
But Kawano had a trump card to play. Fan expectations.
I think they would have been fine with it. They were fine with it back in 2006 and they'd be fine with it now.
Players loved that you could use a parasol to kill zombies.
Yeah, because Dead Rising gave you more freedom. Unlike Resident Evil in its earliest time, when you weren't able to do melee attacks and shit, we were able to do a hell of a lot more in Dead Rising with using the environment to our advantage to defeat hordes of zombies. It's great to have more accessibility. That's why it worked.
However, RE4, a game without zombies, was released the year before. Was Dead Rising trying to dethrone the RE franchise?
No, Dead Rising was not trying to dethrone the Resident Evil franchise. It stood out on its own. The only flaw with it, maybe aside other things, is the fact that Frank West wasn't a consistent main protagonist.
The zombie outbreak is a disaster, but I think you need to laugh too.
You don't have to laugh during a zombie outbreak. The game does have bleak moments, but but the fact that it also has a sense of humor while all this other shit is going on, that makes it have a little more personality than just rehashing what's done with Resident Evil.
Shinji Mikami made the Resident Evil games, so of course they have a sense of humor.
Yeah, but you don't always need to have comedy and horror. You don't always need to do that. I know it's predominant in Japan for people to have comedy in their horror movies and whatever, but it's not necessary. You don't need to do that because it breaks the tension and the whole point of it having more visual impact.
It's fair to say that Dead Rising is the classic zombie game.
Yes, it is still a classic zombie game, and it's still one of my favorite video games of all time.
But it wasn't the easiest to play.
It's not the easiest game to play if you're not used to the format. It's essentially a rogue game. I mean, even though you can save, you gotta start all the way over if you fail, or from the last save point.
And finally, we managed to draw out an intriguing bit of information from director Nakanishi. We'll let him have the final comment.
Yes, please, tell us.
We're making a new Resident Evil.
A new Resident Evil.
It was really difficult to figure out what to do after 7.
It shouldn't be that difficult because of the story. I mean, hell, you guys could have given us the whole closure to Code Veronica over 20 years ago. But no, you didn't do that.
But I hope you're excited for the day I can.
Okay, well, unless there's gonna be a Code Veronica remake, the only Resident Evil games we have to look forward to is the next Resident Evil installment following Village, and possibly whatever else is going on.
Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, launches on July 19th.
I'll probably play a demo of this game.
Try out the demo today.
I'll have the demo downloaded and then I'll play it sometime in the future.
You can play the opening section for free.
Oh, good to know.
And finally, 18 years after the original release, we have the original Zombie Paradise action game, Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered.
I hope there's a demo of this game in the future, because I would really like to play a demo of Dead Rising Deluxe Remastered, and then progress can be saved over into the full game.
That's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. The 2-hour free trial for Dragon's Dogma. I'll save time on that. I don't know if I'll do it though. Knowing that it's a trial, I'll run out of time because, you know, the clock goes down and then I'll have to reinstall the whole game when it's actually the full version.
Moving on to Capcom Summer Sale.
Yeah, same shit. I'm gonna have to wait a long while until Dragon's Dogma 2 and Ace Attorney and whatever else goes on sale. But what they should really do is make Exoprimal free to play because it makes it easier for people to get access to it. I don't want to pay $20 for that game. It's a free-to-play game that's made too expensive, and its servers could be shut down any day.
Here are the titles you can pre-order now.
I'm not doing that. It's nice that there's data that can be carried over to the full game, but I'd rather just play the demo of this one and then, you know, go on from there. I don't want to waste all that download speed for nothing.
Don't forget to wishlist Monster Hunter Wilds, the latest title in the Monster Hunter series.
Yeah, I'll play Monster Hunter games far into the future, because there's still so much more. Alright, that was the whole presentation, and I guess I'll just give out my thoughts. I'll primarily say some things about Dead Rising, because there's a lot to say about Dead Rising. It's a goddamn remake, I don't care what way they try to put it, and I think it's unnecessary for them to just mysteriously call it something else when it doesn't need to be. It's totally unnecessary for them to call it a deluxe remastered port when the goddamn game itself is simply a remake. And I feel like they're just trying to make it sound more special than it really should be. But that being said, I am very interested into playing a remake of Dead Rising because I want to see how much content has actually evolved and has been sacrificed, because one of the things I mentioned earlier is that there are certain elements that gave it more personality. And it sounds a little petty to some people that don't care about this kind of thing, but there are certain attributes that certain characters have that makes them stand out. And one of the things being of their appearance. And I've seen some people complain about how Frank's visual appearance is because they say that he does not actually look like Frank West. And in some ways I can understand, because his appearance changed by the time you get to 2, because he's reduced to a supporting character, and then you get on to Dead Rising 2 Off the Record where you can actually play as him, and then you go on to Dead Rising 3 where unfortunately he's still not in the main role. And I feel like that's one of the biggest missed opportunities of Dead Rising, because they decided to sidelight him for somebody else. And you'd think by the ending of the first Dead Rising game, spoiler alert, with him being infected and then still surviving because he took the medicine that was necessary to postpone him turning, or in this case, prevent him from turning, but still having negative effects on his body and stuff. Like, I feel like that was a total missed opportunity to see what would happen to him after that point. But they go into it in Dead Rising 2 Off the Record based on the trailers and the introduction itself, but I feel like they should have had him as the protagonist across the board and did something at the end that actually made it all pay off. Now, as for the first game that they talked about. I'm not that excited for it. I'm still not that excited for it, but I'll play the demo to see how it makes me feel and see if I'll change my mind about it, but I'm not pre-ordering it, and I definitely am not totally interested into immediately buying a mobile port, let alone an iPhone port of Resident Evil 7, not merely because I already have the game on PC, but because of the fact that additionally I don't have other Apple products, and I just don't feel like it's necessary. But I'm open to the idea of playing it, but it's not something that I'm gonna immediately buy or pre-order because I don't need to. But anyway, that was an interesting presentation, and I'm glad that Capcom shared that today, and I will definitely tune into the next one because obviously there's going to be a lot more Capcom content in the future. I'm especially curious about the next Resident Evil project because we all know that there's another potential remake along the way. There's been rumors about Resident Evil 5 being remade, and that doesn't surprise me, but it wouldn't make any goddamn sense without a remake of Code Veronica. I've said this across all the time, and I'm saying it again. Code Veronica needs a remake. It's been overdue for over 20 years. The ending has a cliffhanger that hasn't been answered for over 20 years. Many people, including myself, have been wanting this game to be fucking remade, and it definitely needs to have a comeback and make it worthwhile. I said it before, I'll say it again, even though it may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm saying that I wouldn't pre-order some of this stuff right now based on this presentation, but if there was ever a remake of Code Veronica, yes, I would pre-order it so I can play it on day one, as I would be being interested with the Code Veronica remake, allowing me to show my acting skills as Steve Burnside. Who knows, maybe one day I'll go to Capcom headquarters and I'll show myself playing if they ever notice me, or if I become a Capcom creator. But until that happens, or when that happens, if that ever happens, this was the Venturous Gamer, and I hope you've enjoyed your Venturous experience. Capcom, please remake Code Veronica. I'll voice Steve Burnside if I have to.